Welcome back. I've got a collection update. These are all my Shocktober Scream Factory purchases, which I've finally gone through all of them and watched them. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you on those. I'll be honest with you. This is the first time I think in a couple years where the Scream Factory sale actually had some meat to it. It wasn't just like $1 off the regular price. I mean, there were some pretty decent prices across the board. In fact, when I made my first pass through what I needed in my collection, um, I mean, I was up to $500. I had to back it off. It's getting hard, honestly, to keep up with all the Scream Factory output. To be honest with you, and I think actually Frank Fulci and I were talking about that through comments and on his videos. He was saying the same thing. Anyway, I did pick up quite a number of titles, so let's go through those. First up, 1971's Let's Scare Jessica to Death, directed by John Hancock. Um, he didn't do a lot of horror. He did a lot of TV. I mean, he didn't. He did a film called Weeds with Nick Nolte. That was pretty good. Um, I'm this. A lot of people like this movie, and in fact, Kim Newman. This is apparently his favorite horror movie. It was just it was just a slog for me. And I like slow burn horror. It's a slow burn horror. This girl, basically, this woman gets out of a mental institution, and she and her husband move to this country house, and they run into this mysterious woman that's been kind of squatting in the house. It has some decent moments, but I don't know. It did not grab me at all. And I do like these kind of films, particularly the 70s. This is 1971. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10. This does have a commentary track with the director, and then an interview with Kim Newman, who kind of praises the film. So yeah, decent pickup. Now let's talk about a 70s thriller that I really liked, and that is You'll Like My Mother with Patty Duke. Patty Duke, who's kind of a wholesome looking woman. Well, she is wholesome. I mean, she is on a lot of TV shows and things like that. She stars in this movie as a pregnant woman who her husband has died, and she goes to visit the mother of the fiance that passed away, and come to find out the goings on at the house is not good. The mother's super strange, and she ends up getting trapped in this house. This one really was great. I loved it. I give it a 9 out of 10. Um, this is a slow burn that caught my attention, contrasting it with Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Anyway, this is directed by Lamont Johnson, who I don't know much about. He did a lot of dramas, TV shows, TV movies, but this really hit the spot for me. This has this doesn't have quite as many special features. It's got an interview with the writer, photo gallery. Yeah, this one unfortunately is light on special features. Next up, let's see here. Look at my IMDb. I guess we'll look at Serial Mom, this is a, believe it or not, 1994 Serial Mom was a first time watch for me. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I give it a 9 out of 10. Maybe 8 out of 10. John Waters, the director. This was a fun film. Kathleen Turner was fantastic as this psychotic housewife. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Super tongue in cheek, as you would expect from John Waters. But I loved it. It was a refreshing fun. As far as special features, we have a commentary track, um, conversation with the director John Waters, commentary track with Kathleen Turner and John Waters. That ought to be interesting. Yeah, this was a good release. Definitely recommend that one. Next up, 1979's Dracula, directed by John Badham, who did Saturday Night Fever. It goes from disco to horror. And a lot of people accuse this film of looking too disco-like, particularly Frank Langella's hair. Um, I just think it was the period of time. Didn't have anything to do with John Badham having directed both movies. This is a great film. Great Dracula film. I saw this as a young 14-year-old in the theater. And I can remember the scene where Laurence Olivier is digging under the graveyard and they go into the crypt and he finds his undead daughter. That scared the hell out of me. And it still is it's one of the creepiest, I think it's one of the creepiest scenes in horror history. This was played more as a love story, but Frank Langella has his moments where he is just, very powerful, very evil. And it's a great Dracula film. I don't know that I appreciated it as much as I do now. When I was a kid, I grew up on Hammer and Chris Lee, so a romantic element of Dracula really wasn't my bag, and this does have quite a bit of romance in it. I can appreciate it a lot more now as an adult. It's a fantastic film. Donald Pleasance, great. Laurence Olivier, great. This is a great cast, fantastic, and I really liked what they did with the story. They didn't just repeat history. They did something fresh, refreshing, and different. This has two cuts of the film, which is the original theatrical release, and then it's got the John Badham approved, kind of the black and white, washed out look, which, I watched both. I think there's positives and negatives to both. I understand what Badham was trying to do as far as kind of a throwback to the Bela Lugosi look in Universal, but obviously, I think the full color is still the better looking version. This has has an introduction by John Badham, and it's got a couple audio commentary tracks. Great release. Definitely pick it up. I give this an 8 out of 10. One of the best Dracula versions. My personal favorite as far as Dracula and the versions that adhere to the book the best, I think, is the Louis Jourdan Dracula. I think was the best version of it. Of course, I love Hammer, Chris Lee. All right, let's see. What else we got here? How about 1932's Murders in the Rue Morgue, Bela Lugosi? This is a short film where Bela plays a mad scientist trying to prove that humans descended from apes, and so he's injecting this ape blood or ape serum into humans. Crazy stuff. A lot of fun. The ending is fantastic. The setting on top of the it's like the ape is like crawling across these house rooftops. It's fantastic. Looks great. Fantastic. Good stuff. This has a audio commentary track. Let's see. Actually, it's got two audio commentaries. Carl Laemmle, excellent stuff. Definitely recommend this one. You can pick this up from Scream Factory, and it's also this film as well as Black Cat, and it was released by I want to say I've got the release upstairs. I just can't remember whether it was Indicator or it was a UK release. Second Sight maybe. Lots of places to pick that up though. Next up is Orca the Killer Whale. This is another one from the 70s that I saw. I think I saw this at the drive-in on a Saturday night. Great film. Underrated when it came out. Of course, there was a lot of Jaws spin-offs, and the popularity of shark films was rampant back then with nature run amok movies. And Orca was one of those. But this was a good one. It really was. It's got a very young Bo Derek. I don't know if people remember her from the movie 10. That's where she really got famous. Um, Bo Derek is in this. And then Richard Harris, who was, he's basically a killer whale hunter. And he kills this whale that was having a baby. And of course, the male killer whale witnesses this and basically tries to exact his revenge on Richard Harris. Great stuff, good stuff, Orca. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Directed by a guy named Michael Anderson, who also did Logan's Run. Let's see what else we got here. On this one, the only thing we have is a audio commentary track. This is kind of going to be a long one, guys. You can see my stack here. Next up is a film I really loved, and that's Depraved. Larry Fessenden did a fantastic job paying homage to Frankenstein, but not just arbitrarily copying and doing what was already done really great with James Whale and Boris Karloff. He did his own version of Frankenstein. He put his own imprint on it, and he did a fantastic job. He paid homage to the previous films, including Christopher Lee, by the way. That little eye, milky eye, that's kind of a homage to the Chris Lee version of Frankenstein. But he has his stamp on the story. It's a great story in a modern treatment. A great Frankenstein story, updated to the modern and done very, very well. Bravo to Larry Fessenden. I listened to the commentary track, which was excellent, and he also has got on here. There's also an hour and 15-minute making of documentary. So loaded release here from Scream Factory. That's Depraved. Highly recommend that one. Next up, another film I saw in the theaters. I'm aging myself. Altered States. William Hurt plays this crazy doctor that's basically going through these sleep deprivation chamber experiments, and he basically becomes an ape. It's kind of like a version of 2001 without the space stuff. Or it's an origins of man story, bottom line. Great cast in this. William Hurt was fantastic. The direction was fantastic. I mean, this is a great movie. This is another one that probably didn't get the kudos it should have gotten when it first came out in the 80s. But I thought it was great. The only problem with this release is there's no special features. This is a Warner Brothers release. I just threw it into my Shocktober purchases. Here's another Warner Brothers title I picked up along the way, and that was Angel Heart, Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro. Great film. Fantastic film. About Mickey Rourke plays this private investigator searching for some musician that's disappeared that Robert De Niro has. He owes Robert De Niro something, and that something we find out is got a soul attached to it. Great stuff. It's got a nice essence of New Orleans. I appreciated that as I live close to New Orleans. Good stuff. Great film. Definitely recommend this release. This has, I believe this has an audio commentary track with the director, and then some selected scene commentary. How about some Hammer? Like I said, I've been trying to keep up with these Scream Factory releases, but it's tough. They're releasing so much right now. At any rate, I did pick up a few select Hammer titles, and this is Frankenstein Created Woman. This was an interesting departure from the whole concept of the Baron and making of a creature, and this was kind of a soul transference. So kind of a refreshing change of pace. And I really think that the Hammer Frankenstein franchise in general is one of the best horror franchises ever. It's definitely top five ever of all franchises. Uh, Maybe number one. It's close. I think I did a video of top horror franchises, top 25, and Hammer's Dracula and Hammer's Frankenstein are up in the top five for me. And the reason I think it is because there were so many. Each film was just perfect, almost perfect. It's not 10 out of 10 perfect, but 7, 8, solid 8 out of 10 type movies, and this one's no exception. There's not necessarily, you don't. This is not your standard monster fare. This is a soul transference, but and a lot of the Hammer Frankenstein films were really about the doctor, the Baron. It's not about the monster. But this was a great performance by Peter Cushing, and a great Hammer film. Another great Hammer film. I think this one has a host of special features. It looks like it does. Let's see. I'm sure it's got a audio commentary track. Let's see. It's a 2K scan, audio commentary, Steve Haberman. It's actually got 2 commentary tracks. It's got a commentary track with one of the actors in this too. Okay. Another Hammer pickup was Rasputin, the Mad Monk. This was made back to back with Dracula, Prince of Darkness, using a lot of the same sets. And Christopher Lee, I think this is one of his best performances, as Rasputin. Fantastic stuff. I actually think this is, in general, a better film than Dracula, Prince of Darkness. I think Christopher Lee is both great in both, but I actually prefer his performance in this a little bit more. Of course, this film is loosely based on the real Rasputin, who was a Russian. He basically a mystery man. He was able to cure people, and he got involved with the basically the hierarchy, the Tsar and his wife. He indoctrinated himself into their family with the ability to supposedly cure illnesses and things. And his death and how they tried to off Rasputin is the stuff of legend. Apparently, they poisoned him and threw him off a balcony and stabbed him and all kinds of crap, and they just couldn't kill the bastard. And the film reproduces that pretty well. Good stuff. This has got an audio commentary track, another Steve Haberman commentary track, and a World of Hammer episode. Good stuff. All right, what do we got here? Let's see. Another Hammer film. That's The Blood of the Mummy's Tomb with Valerie Leone. Boy, she's gorgeous, I have to admit. Andrew Keir and Valerie Leone. This is a mummy movie, but it's different than your typical mummy movie. This one tries to kind of parlay what Frankenstein Created Woman did, which was like a soul transference. In this one, Valerie Leone is possessed by the spirit of an Egyptian priestess. I have to admit, it's not one of my favorite Hammer films. I just thought this was kind of hokey, and it drags in a number of places. It's not a favorite of mine. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's not bad. No Hammer film is like bad, I think, but it's not one of my favorites. Even the Valerie Leone is awesome looking. This one, has some interviews and another audio commentary track by Steve Haberman. So yeah. Keeping up the hammers here. Mummy's Shroud. Now this is a mummy film I really like. and and it follows the standard conventions. Uh, the circus operator, basically this entrepreneur, this asshole entrepreneur, who really carries the film, uh, goes to Egypt and captures the mummy. Um, so it follows the normal conventions of a mummy film. And the only problem I have with it, John Phillips plays the spoiled millionaire, and he really carries the film. Without him, it wouldn't be nearly as good. The mummy looks like a scarecrow. I mean, the outfit looks like shit. I mean, it doesn't look like centuries old bandages. It looks like a damn scarecrow. It just looks terrible. So it's the worst mummy outfit of all the mummy films. This has an audio commentary track, this time by Bruce Hollenbeck. And then some interviews and another World of Hammer. But yeah, these releases from Scream Factory, all the ones I've talked about, the picture and video quality, sound quality is excellent. It looks pristine. Highly recommend these releases. Let's see, more Hammer. The Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas. Peter Cushing stars in this, and Forrest Tucker. This is a really fun Yeti film, black and white, but well done, great story. And as typical of Hammer, it's just well done on all accounts. A fantastic little film. Audio commentary with Ted Newsom, and an interview with Jonathan Rigby. It's actually got 3 commentary tracks. Holy cow! One's with Joe Dante, or that's the Trailers from Hell from Joe Dante. But yeah, Peter Cushing and Forrest Tucker, who have oppositely aligned interests in trying to track down the Yeti. Very good film. 8 out of 10. Now here's another Hammer film that really is not good, and it's maybe one of the worst of the Hammer whole portfolio, and that's To the Devil a Daughter. Oh my gosh! I mean, and you got a great cast here. You got Christopher Lee, Natasha Kinski. It should have been better than it was, but it just sucks. I think it sucks because of the ending is shit. Hammer is known for their endings, and this one was just a turd of an ending. Richard Widmark was okay in this, but he acted like he didn't want to be there most of the time, I think. He just had kind of a grumpy disposition the whole film. The other thing that just drags this film down is the Devil Baby. It's just horrible. This is a possession film, basically just kind of parlaying the popularity of exorcism and possession films in the early 70s. But it's just horrible. I mean, what can I say? And the ending is what killed it. But I had to add it to the collection. This has an audio commentary by Steve Haberman and Konstantin Nasser. This actually has interviews with Christopher Lee. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when this came out. Let's see. I want to say 1976 this came out. Because I remember seeing this in the theater about the time, soon after The Exorcist. But I mean, this looks like never mind. It's just bad. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's one of my lowest rated Hammers. Next up is a great Hammer film, and that's X the Unknown. I didn't realize this. This is basically Hammer's The Blob before The Blob came out. And I'm kind of wondering now whether The Blob, Steve McQueen, was inspired at all by this film, because this is essentially Other than in this film, the blob comes from within the Earth's crust, whereas the blob in the blob comes from space. It's almost exactly the blob story. Well done. I like the atmospheric black and white and its look of the film. This film I saw as a kid, and it scared the crap out of me. It was frightening and moody and dark. But I really, really like X the Unknown. It came out in 56, I think. Yeah, 1956. Now, I don't know these directors. Joseph Losey. Never heard of him. He did The Damned and The Prowler. Not The Prowler you're thinking about with Tom Savini. But yeah, interesting early exploration into sci-fi for Hammer. This has an audio commentary with Ted Newsom, and also has a little featurette on Jimmy Sangster. So that'll be good. Down to two more here. This is Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood. Not sure why I bought this. I think this is shit. This is just a vehicle to parlay the popularity of Dennis Miller, who I don't like Dennis Miller. I don't think he's funny. This is a vampire film filled with a bunch of Dennis Miller one-liners, is what it is. Not good. I think I gave it a 4 out of 10. Was not a fan at all. I've tried to like it. I want to like it more than I liked it. Bordello Blood, I gave it a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's just a bunch of lame. It's clearly, Dennis Miller was super popular at one time, and this is just trying to as a cheap cash in of his popularity at the time. It's just a bunch of his one-liners in a shitty horror movie. Yeah. There you go. Let's talk about a really classic horror film. Not necessarily a horror film. It's a psychological thriller. Polanski's The Tenant. This is the third of the Apartment trilogy. This is a 10 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's about a guy that occupies and rents an apartment that was previously occupied by someone that trying to commit suicide. And it's one man's descent into insanity. There's a lot of ways. I think this film is so good because it's open to multiple interpretations. That's my interpretation of it. Very good film. 10 out of 10. And I don't give out 10 out of 10s a lot. So this has an interview with the director, Roman Polanski. An interview with the assistant cameraman, and an audio commentary with Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. That'll be good. Troy Howarth is always interesting to listen to. An audio interview with the writer. Yeah, nothing more to say. It's a 10 out of 10. All right. Well, that just about is a 30-minute Blu-ray update. And if you have any of those titles or have any comments you'd like to share, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching.